That's what I was gonna say. I saw Blue Beetle this week.
What did you think of that one?
I thought it was not bad.
See, that's what I thought.
I think it was fun. I think it was constantly flipping between very generic and kind of fresh. Like, it felt pretty fresh in points, but then it was also like, well, this is clearly Iron Man 1, or this is clearly Black Panther 1, or this writing sucks sometimes.
Yeah, for me it was like, okay, this is like I'm liking this, and then there were parts where I'm just like, man, I really am not liking this.
Yeah,
It would just flip back and forth.
The first like half hour of the movie, I was really not feeling. I think the writing there was not great. Also, spoiler alert for Blue Beetle. I called that the dad was going to die about 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
Literally, the second he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to tip these guys 25%. We can worry about money tomorrow. They make nothing here. They need this more than we do right now." I was like, okay, so that's clearly this character's going to die then.
Yeah.
Whenever I see a movie or show or anything hammer home like a person being that cool, I'm just like, yeah, okay, they want us to care about this person, so it means more when they die.
Well, it's like they introduced like literally like the first like 5 minutes of meeting the character. He's like, yeah, he has heart problems. It's like, okay, yeah,
Yep.
no, he's dead.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I didn't call that was how he was gonna die until the scene where he actually died, and when they were all getting cornered in the house, I was like, oh, okay, he's gonna have a heart attack now. Okay, I see what's going on.
Very convenient heart attack right there, you know.
Oh. Well, I would say it was an inconvenient heart attack scene if he died. Alright, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Earth's Mightiest Comic. But yeah, this is the show where every week we talk about the new comics that came out that week and what we thought of them. Did we like them? Did we think they were fucking dog shit? Spoiler alert, there's definitely at least one of those in this week for me. Yeah, this week, the stuff like that, stuff that's going to include is the end of Night Terrors finally. If you've been listening to the show, you know how sick of that event we've been getting, so that's a big deal. But of course, because this is the way of the big two, the event machine cannot stop. And so as a result, we'll also be talking about the start of the new DC event, Gotham War. And then, of course, like, stuff like Contest of Chaos at Marvel, that's still moving along. And then we've also got stuff like Ultimate Invasion, Incredible Hulk, and World Tree, plus some other stuff. Spoilers for everything that we'll be talking about, and also time codes will be below if you want to skip around to anything. So, Sebastian, I know we normally end with Night Terrors, but I figure, since there's only one...
Yeah.
I figure let's start with Night Terrors, and then we never have to talk about it again.
That sounds like a plan.
All right. So this is Night Terrors Night's End, the final issue of Night Terrors. What did you think of this one?
I'd say better than the last one, because the last one wasn't that great.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. What else? I think I've decided that I'm not too much of a fan of the art style a bit.
I don't mind it, but I do think sometimes it's kind of hard to like really tell what's going on.
It's sometimes super hard to tell what exactly is going on. Another thing that I thought was incredibly dumb was they introduced like all these like Justice League nightmares, like evil like nightmare versions of the Justice League, and I feel like they had really no big part in this at all.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when, with us reading on the tie-ins, so many of these were like to be continued and Night Terrors, Night's End, and it's like really only one of them had any reappearance, and even then it was like 3 or 4 panels.
Yeah. It was just like, bro, all right, that was like, what was the point of all that then?
Oh, yeah, we're going to do a whole segment here, Sebastian. I've already planned this out, where we're just going to look at all these tie-ins at some point and after we're done talking about the issue, and say if we think they were necessary or not. Because, spoiler alert, I think probably 70% of them were not.
Yeah, definitely not. What else? Boston. What is his full name?
Yeah,
Deadman.
Deadman.
I guess he's actually dead now.
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, no one in comics is ever actually dead. But,
exactly. So that's just like air quotes around that. Actually. Right. What else here? New villain at the very end.
Dr. Hate. Yeah.
Dr. Hate. Yeah.
The way that character was in Shadow, I have a feeling the character is someone we've seen, just not as this.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly.
Persona.
Like nobody can know who I am.
Right. That was very much like, okay, we know who this guy is, but we just don't know.
Is.
Yeah. Right.
Very anticlimactic, I must say.
I don't know. I think honestly.
Well, I guess not necessarily, because Insomnia's plan did work in the end.
Yeah. I will say, I also thought Insomnia's motivations here made more sense to me than they did last week. I feel like the way he explains the problem with the Justice League in this is more. It feels more believable than it did last week, where it's just like he lost his family because he was being an idiot and decided not to evacuate. And I think, and I don't even remember exactly what the points he brought up were, but I feel like they were more substantial than they were in the last issue, where some of the things he said, I was like, yeah, that's kind of correct. I think it just doesn't apply to you in particular.
Oh man, you see, I was like, because for me, it was kind of like the same. It was like they failed my family, but it's like, did they though?
Yeah, I don't think they. I think Insomnia failed his family
Exactly,
more than the Justice League. But I think some of the things he doesn't. I think in this issue, the stuff he talks about in relation to the Justice League and their problems, and I think it's more general on the whole, and he doesn't relate everything back to him in this one. Some of the stuff he says, I'm like, okay, I kind of see your point there, but I just think in his particular situation, he is not a good example of that.
Yeah. No, yeah, makes sense. That makes sense.
But yeah, I think on its own terms, separate from the rest of the event, or even if you lump it in with the core event, I think this issue works okay on its own. I think I liked this one enough. It moved very quick. It was just kind of like bam, 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 here we go. But I think it worked well enough. I like Boston's whole kind of arc that he's gone through in this series. And I think his arc ends well. Wesley also goes back into his grave. We'll see where he pops up. And he's getting I think he's getting a miniseries sometime coming up soon, which I might check out. I actually think he's an interesting character now after this. Yeah, I do think that this issue kind of, again, flipped me around on the core event. I think if we had removed the tie-ins, I'd be looking at this pretty positively as a whole. The event, I'd probably be giving the event like a 7 overall, which is what I gave this issue. I gave this issue a 7.
Yeah.
I think it's, very, very, I think it's solid, but not an amazing conclusion, as is the case with a lot of these events.
Yeah.
But I think, the tie-ins, man, so many of them.
So many, and most, if not, well, I would say most, because some were definitely like helpful or like necessary, but like most of those were just so unnecessary and just didn't even show back up, and it's just like, why?
And I wouldn't have minded if they weren't necessary, if they were good. Also true. Like Night Terror's Detective Comics was not necessary. It didn't tie in back to this at all, but it's fantastic, and I think that's the best part of this event, actually, even including the core stuff. So I don't mind if it's good, or if it ties into something, then whatever. And that, to be fair, I also know that we're kind of the exception here in terms of DC's not really expecting everybody to read all of these. I'm sure they'd love it if they did, because it meant they would spend more money on it, but I don't think this is an event where you're meant to read everything. So that's not really DC's fault, but still, they should still make an effort to make them engaging, and not to say that they didn't try to make them good. I'm sure the writers did. I think, they need to be more engaging than this, if that's the case. It's like, I'm just going to go through really quickly and rattle off things that, some of the times that we had to read. Batman, probably you can keep. I guess it was pretty good, and it wasn't super necessary because they covered all the information in the core event, but pretty good. I think I can keep that. Black Adam 2, get rid of it. Or Black Adam just in general, get rid of that series. Not at all important. Same thing with Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy started really good, but I don't think it ended well. Get rid of it. Ravager. Ravager was okay.
I mean,
you could have cut it, but I think having it is not a huge deal. I think it's fine, especially because I would also have cut the Joker.
I would have definitely cut the Joker.
Yeah, and then at that point, it would have just been Batman and Ravager coming out that week, and that would have been fine, I think. Then Green Lantern, you can maybe keep Green Lantern. I didn't mind that one. I would get rid of Robin, though, 100%. I would get rid of the Flash. I would keep Shazam and Zatanna. Zatanna's the only one that had any bearing on the final issue.
Seriously.
And it was just her and Robot Man showing up for about 3 panels, and then they were gone.
Yeah, that's really it.
I would have cut Catwoman 100%. I would have cut Nightwing, although I know you love Nightwing because they had the back rooms in it and whatever.
Nightwing was the best one though. Like, so I don't know.
Jesus. I would have cut Punchline.
Yes.
I probably would have kept Superman. Wonder Woman could probably stay. I thought that was okay, but it's not really necessary. I think that one should go either way.
I feel like that one should stay because part of it was that one wasn't in the real world. It was Zatanna that was in the real world.
Yeah. But it's also like, she's part of the Trinity, so I guess, if you're gonna have anybody, it makes sense to have her. And then Action Comics should stay, I think, but Angel Breaker should go, Harley should go, Titan should go, and I think Detective Comics should stay.
Yes.
So I think if they just kind of if they had done less of these, it's just the characters they chose to focus on in some of this it's just such a weird decision. I just don't really know kind of where that thought process came from. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on this event. I think it was pretty. The core event was fine, but I think it really got let down by the tie-ins, and so it just ended up feeling relentless. And like I said, 7 for the issue, but for the event, I'm kind of feeling 4.
Ooh.
Maybe 5, but
I was all right. So for this issue, I'd probably give it a 7 as well. My biggest gripe with this one is just the fact that they had such a they made such a big deal out of the Nightmare versions of the Justice League fighting and stuff, and they didn't fight them, but the Nightmare versions still did have an impact on the rest of the world. But it's just I don't know.
I feel like they made that.
Well, not that we didn't see it, because at the very end you saw the people weren't really liking superheroes that much. But it's just I feel like they played it up to be oh, you're gonna fight your Nightmare version of yourself, but that didn't really happen. And then so I'd give the issue a 7. The event as a whole, I'd give a 5.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I will say, in regards to them not fighting their Nightmare versions in the real world, I don't really mind that, actually, because we did see them. That's the basis of all the times, essentially, is them fighting their nightmares. Yeah. So it's I don't really feel the need to see that again, just in the real world. So I wasn't too upset with that. I did have one, and it's a pretty minor complaint, but I think it's just really dumb how right at the start, that kid is they're chasing me, and there's the person with no eyelids in my dreams, and the parents are we also saw the person with no eyelids in the dreams. They're but then they shrug it off. They're it's just probably someone we saw on TV. It's no, guys, you guys live in a fucking world with superheroes and supervillains. This shit, you see something like that, you should be on high alert. That should be oh shit, something's going down.
Yeah, I mean, but realistically, right? If that were to happen to you, what were the chances of you thinking, oh, this is really happening to me right now? They're thinking we're just so what are the chances of it happening to us?
Yeah, but we live in the real world, Sebastian. This shit is commonplace in these universes. If I saw that, you have to at least be there's a decent chance this could. It could be nothing, but there's a decent chance that it could be real, and we should
exactly. But it's at that point, here. At that point, what are you gonna do about it? Oh fuck, we all saw him, huh? Realistically, what are you gonna do?
I just think, Sebastian. If people had been fucking proactive in this universe, this event wouldn't have happened in the first place, because Insomnia would have evacuated his family, and they wouldn't have died. So maybe just a little bit more caution here it would be warranted in these situations, so they don't make another fucking Insomnia, and we don't have to do Night Terrors 2, the whole fucking thing again.
Yeah, exactly. No, I get it. But it's just I don't know, man.
Yeah. So Night Terrors has wrapped up now officially, and we probably will never bring it up again on the show.
Honestly, I really hope we don't. It was, oh man.
Anyway, can't wait for Night Terrors 2 next year. Really hope it happens. Okay, moving on. What say we go? Because this kind of takes place right after Night Terrors.
Right.
Do we want to move into Gotham more?
Yeah, we can do this. We can do this.
Okay. I fucking hated this.
I understand Catwoman's idea behind it, and I could see how it possibly could work, but she has to understand that Batman realistically would never let it work.
See, I don't know. I kind of approach this from the other side, where I was like, Bruce has been fine with Selina for years. Like, they're often in a relationship. And, like,
Yes.
I know he doesn't approve of her stealing stuff and shit, but, like, he's also just kind of letting it happen. So, I don't know. And also, like, he sees it working at one point, and he's like, well, maybe it is working. And so I'm like, I don't know if he would go this hard on them. And maybe he would, because then there's just, like, nothing else happening in the city. But still, I feel like his immediate turn on her was maybe a little bit quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe not entirely. I feel like he probably would have heard her out to a degree.
I feel like if it were a 1-on-1, it would have been better, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
I think he would have heard her out a bit more.
Where is everybody else? Like, she's basically taken all of the goons, but, like, where is everybody?
I think because they don't have any goons, they just can't really operate.
I know, but, like, I feel like they wouldn't let her take everybody, you know? Like, they would have retaliated in some way.
Yeah, but then now she's got this army of people who she's actually, you know, paying properly and trying to keep them safe and stuff.
Yeah.
Who would probably go and just defend her as well and then just, like, take everybody down. So it's like, I think they're probably smart enough to know that they would not win that fight, because now she's got an army, and it's just they have nobody left except for, like, the, you know, every so often they have, like, one random person who's just stuck with them for whatever reason. But so I mean, like, the Riddler even says, like, something. So I forget.
Yeah, I don't remember what he said. Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought this was really boring.
Definitely, definitely boring for sure, 100%. I mean, first one, you know, just setting everything up, but
So you haven't been reading?
Yeah.
You haven't been reading Batman or Catwoman, right?
No, I gotta get on that one.
Okay. Yeah, I've been reading Batman, but not Catwoman. This is written by both of them, Tini Howard and Chip Zdarsky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of it was who. I'm generally a very big fan of Chip Zdarsky. He wrote the Daredevil run that I have been talking about for the past couple months, that we've been covering here. I'm a big fan of his work. I really don't like almost anything Tini Howard has written. Some of it's been okay, but mostly I'm not a fan. So I don't know. I don't know if that was kind of why I didn't like this one that much, but I thought it was boring. There were some elements that I did like. I liked the page where Zur-En-Arrh is coming out while Batman's still asleep. I think that's setting up some stuff, because that's been a plot point of the core Batman series for a little while. So I think that's setting up something big in the future there. That was interesting. I didn't mind the scene where they were all talking in the lounge. Yeah, thought that was okay. The rest of this I thought was pretty rough.
Are we surprised that Red Hood went over to Catwoman's side?
No, I don't think so. I think if anybody, that makes the most sense. Yeah,
it definitely makes the most sense. Who exactly is this Zur-En-Arrh Batman? I don't know.
The Batman of Zur-En-Arrh has been around for a while. I don't know its origin really, in terms of where it first showed up. It was a goofy looking suit when it first showed up. I think it looks a lot better now, but it's very similar. Like, the color scheme is the same. I think they just kind of darkened it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But as it relates to this run, Zur-En-Arrh is essentially a failsafe placed in Batman's mind, where if he becomes, I think it's like if he becomes compromised, then Zur can kind of come out and take control of Bruce's mind and then kind of operate in his stead. Except Zur is also pretty, like, he's much more violent than Batman, and he's kind of just like, he's a little bit more unpredictable. If I remember,
Yeah.
and it's been a little while since I read the start of this run, but that's kind of where it was at, I think. That being said, what I described sounds a lot like Failsafe, which was the main villain of the first arc, so I could be kind of getting them confused. But I think that's generally the.
I mean, like that's kind of what I figured from it, but I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like something else or.
Yeah, that's more or less what it is.
Yeah.
Also, the artist on this is Mike Hawthorne. I didn't really like the art in this one.
Yeah.
Not really my taste.
It wasn't for me either.
I don't know. Do you have anything else to say on this one?
I really don't, man. Really don't.
I mean, it's early days, so like you never know. This could turn
exactly.
around. I'm curious to see if the Chips and RC solo written issues are ones that I like better than this one. But as it stands, yeah, I really didn't like this one. I gave us a 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't like it that bad. Not to that point. I'll probably give this a 5.
Okay. Yeah, this was my least favorite issue I read this week. I just not a fan. But we'll see. Batman 140 is next week, so who knows? Maybe that'll or not 140. Is it 140? I think it's actually 137. Yeah, 137.
137. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What do you want to do next here?
Let's do Marvel Age 1000.
Okay, so this is the one I made you read.
Yes.
Mostly because I think this is the only thing that I was reading that you weren't. So I was just like, all right, might as well.
Yeah.
This is kind of a nothing thing for me.
I mean, there were so many stories.
Yeah, there were
and I think out of all of them, I think I only disliked like 2 of them, if I remember correctly.
I don't think any of them were really that bad. My least favorite was probably the Captain Marvel one.
Yeah, see, so there was that one I didn't like. I didn't really like the Silver Surfer one that much.
I thought that was okay, but I think that was mostly because I really liked the art in that one. I think the art was really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like, okay, they're just talking. Like yeah, the Captain Marvel one wasn't that good. Silver Surfer.
I should specify as well. It's not the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel. It's Captain Marvel. Who people seem to like on the whole. He had like 2 really good stories, and the rest like 2 stories that were so good that they're among the best that Marvel's put out, and then the rest were dog shit.
I thought the first one was interesting, the Human Torch one.
I like that one. That was maybe my favorite of the batch.
That one was pretty good. I enjoyed that one. Sunday
that
Dinner
was written by Mark Wade, so that
Yeah. Sunday Dinner I thought was fun. I felt like that was like
okay.
very very Spider-Man.
It was very classic Spider-Man. That one was written and drawn by Ryan Stegman, who has done a lot of. He was the artist on the King and Black Venom run, the primary artist there.
The People Wonder Why one. I enjoyed this one.
Was that the Gene Scott one?
Yes.
I think this was my favorite. I like that one quite a bit.
I like that one a lot. Earth's Greatest Weapon. Yeah, this one was the one I did not like.
Yep, that one I didn't like. The Daredevil story I thought was fine. That was like nothing to me.
I thought that one was interesting, like how he turned it around in the end.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I kind of hope that him having tinnitus doesn't carry forward into the main run, though.
Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, Death Heaven I did not like.
Yeah.
Girl Who I thought I really liked this one actually. The Girl Who
was not bad. Yeah.
I liked that one, and then the last one was. What can I say about the last one? It was. I liked the last page. Of
this is the tribute to Stan, Jack, and Steve. Which I mean, it's good they included Steve Ditko in there. I think both Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko are overlooked, but especially Steve Ditko. Like very few people I think comparatively, very few people acknowledge his help to create his contribution to creating the Marvel universe because Spider-Man would not exist without him probably. And so he's a huge part obviously. But yeah, people should give more credit to Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko because they did a lot of the work as well. As much as Stan did, they did probably about as much.
Yes.
But yeah, the 2 that I really did like were Machine Learning and People Wonder Why. I think the Backyard one with Stan, Jack, and Steve was kind of cool, but not maybe the best. But yeah, the rest I thought were just kind of okay. I mean, the Girl Who Hates Superheroes was decent, but I think because I didn't really want to rate each one individually, but so I just kind of gave us a 5 overall, not because anything was really not because it was bad or on average I think it was bad, but I just think it was one of those, stories that's like, yeah, this exists, and I don't really have many thoughts on it. There's some good stuff in there, some stuff I didn't really love. I don't even think 5 is a reflection on the issue as a whole, but just as more of my thoughts is like, I don't really have many thoughts at all about this one. Is kind of more where that rating comes from.
Overall, I really liked 3 of them, and then I really disliked just 2 of them.
Yeah.
So overall, I'd say this one will. I enjoyed this one. I'd give this a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about we do Blade next?
Blade. Oh, you read Blade.
I did read Blade. Did you read Blade?
I did not read Blade.
Okay. In that case, I think this is better than the last issue. I still think it's got some weird pacing issues. Particularly, I don't know. It feels to me that the more I read of this, and it's still only 2 issues, so who knows, but the more I've read of this, the more it feels like the writer Brian Hill has a story, but doesn't really want to like fit each part of it into the 28 pages that is the format for this kind of comic. And so he just puts as much as he can into the pages and then just cuts it off at a random point, is what it feels like more and more to me. I felt that with the first issue, and I kind of felt that here as well. I think there were multiple points that in this issue that would have served as a better ending point than the one that we got. But I think the actual plot of this issue is better than the first one. I think it has more momentum here. It's starting to build a little bit more. There's a pretty cool action sequence in this one that actually lasts for a decent amount of time. There's a character introduced called Tulip. I don't know if she was actually in previous issues of anything, but I didn't recognize her. Yeah, we learned kind of a little bit more about what's going on, but ultimately this is kind of a big action issue and then introduction of a new character and then set up for the next issue. But I think, I did like this one generally. I do still have an issue with the art from the standpoint that Ellen Acosta-Grande did the pencils, and I think the pencils are great, but the coloring feels really dark in places to the point where it's kind of difficult to see, and also sometimes it feels kind of fuzzy. But I do think this one was pretty solid. I definitely liked it more than the last one. And so, I think this is pretty good. I gave this one a 7 out of 10. I'm gonna pick up the next issue. This one is still kind of on the bubble of I could drop it in the future, but right now I'm gonna keep going with it.
You're just gonna keep going with it, yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's maybe do Moon Knight Annual next.
Moon Knight Annual. All right.
I'm getting pleasantly surprised with Contest of Chaos. I think this was pretty good.
I enjoyed this one too.
Yeah. I think part of that's because this is written by the core Moon Knight writer right now, Jed McKay, who I think is a good writer. So yeah, I think this was cool. I think he's the only person so far outside of Stephanie Phillips in the first one to actually bring Agatha in a prominent way.
Yes.
And I don't have too much to say on this, but I think the fight was kind of cool and creative. I don't think the fight is maybe as good as last week's fight, but I do like how it was switching between alternate what if versions of them.
Yeah.
I think that made it kind of interesting and more gave it a bit more spice and flair and flavor. But yeah,
I feel like it actually brought in like the actual chaos part of like this whole thing.
Yeah.
I like how we actually got a bit more backstory behind like what exactly the crystals are, why they're like affecting these guys.
Yeah.
But I think I enjoyed the fight scene. I do think last week's was better, but I thought this one was a lot more creative in that sense. And I feel like, that's really much it. Yeah, I just really enjoyed this one.
I think the fight last issue was maybe more creative in terms of use of their powers. I think the way they used their powers in the last issue to have that back and forth, I think was maybe a little bit more interesting. But I do think, considering the limitations of these characters, like Moon Knight's pretty much a straight brawler, and Teiguki, if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm not sure, but he's kind of like a Superman-esque character, it seems. So it's like,
yes,
I think it's hard to match those two up. and make it seem like it works. But I think the success of this issue is that it does find a way to do that.
Exactly.
And get creative with it.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that works. And then the backup story is continuing kind of the main plot. Yeah, I guess it seems like Agatha's just building an army to make chaos for her and also protect her while she's making the new Darkhold.
Yep.
But yeah, I had fun with this one. It's not it's not blowing me out of the water still, but I think it's fun enough. And I'm pleasantly surprised by this event as a whole. I gave this one a 7.
Yeah, I think they're getting a bit better as time goes on, you know.
Iron Man is by far the worst.
Yes, no, easily. But yeah, they're getting better as time goes on, and you know, hopefully it stays that way. It doesn't just drop off. And yeah, I gave this one an 8.
Yeah, next week is Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen.
It's written by somebody who I'm not familiar with really. So we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, hopefully it's all right. Okay, what do we got? We got 3 left.
3. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 left.
All right. Which one do you want to do first?
Let's do Ultimate Invasion.
Okay. This was my pick of the week. I think I like this one.
Why?
I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was really well written. Not a whole lot. Like, there's no action or anything, but I think it is a credit to Hickman's writing that I was still very interested. It's just like a conversation about politics and war. But I was really into it. I was really interested the whole time. I think the characters are all written really well. I think there's some interesting alternate versions of characters in this. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say on this, but I think because there's, not really a whole lot going on in terms of plot development. But I was really fascinated by this one. Every page I was like, hell yeah, this is why I read Jonathan Hickman stuff. It's just it's interesting, dense, world buildy kind of stuff that builds up into something really cool in the final in the final issues, or the climax of whatever thing he's planning. So yeah, this is my favorite issue of the series so far. I really was into this. Art I think is pretty good too. It's drawn by Brian Hitch, who his work is hit or miss for me generally, but I think it works here. And yeah, we did a cliffhanger with Dr. Doom Reed Richards, so that's something as well. But yeah, like I said, I don't have much to say on this, but I gave this one. I gave it an 8, but I could see myself bumping this to a 9 at some point. I'm gonna keep it with 8 for now, but I really like this one.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy this one as much as the rest of the series. I guess, we only really saw interacted with 3 different versions. I'd
say probably 3, not including Howard.
Yeah, not including him. Like, we had a different version of Hulk. Magic had a speaking line.
Magic had a speaking line, but I wasn't counting her. I was counting Costa, and there was some French dude as well.
Yeah,
who
French dude. I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know, man. This one was just a lot of talking about stuff I didn't understand, and yeah, it was boring. Very, very boring.
I don't know. See, this is like
if I understood what exactly they were trying to convey, I'd enjoy this a lot more. But I was just like, okay, what exactly are we talking about? Last issue too, I was just like, where are we? What are we doing? I have no idea.
Well, because they're they're talking about how each of their nations in this area, they play the villain once in a generation, and then that keeps the that keeps the people content if they have a person or a country to hate, to direct that hate towards and direct that violence towards, then it keeps the peace for everybody else. And I think that's an interesting take on it, where essentially the maker is saying yeah, true peace just cannot exist, really. There's always somebody that's going to want to break it. So if you focus that on a particular target, then that means that the rest of them can live in peace. And I think the whole way it was written, the whole discussion on that philosophy was really interesting. And I think I think it was really well written, and I was really engaged with that whole conversation. And that's really what took up most of the issue.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah.
And so if that hadn't been interesting to me, then I would not have cared for this, I don't think. But I think that was interesting, and I think Jonathan Hickman writes dialogue and philosophy and concepts very well. So as a result, I think this one gelled with me.
I understand the concept a little more now, but I think it's dumb concept. Not like it's like dumb, like it kind of makes sense, but like I don't see it truly working in the way they're making it work.
I think that's fair. I also think it's possible that I don't really know how long. We don't have a clear idea on how long the maker has been running this particular world.
That is true.
So it's possible he's wrong and it all falls apart next issue.
Yeah.
I gave this one like a 6. You know.
God damn. Sounds like you were not. I thought this week was pretty solid on the whole, but sounds like you were maybe not in agreement there.
These next two I really liked.
Yeah. Well, which one of these next two do you want to do first?
Let's finish off the Marvel.
Okay. This was almost my pick of the week. This is Incredible Hulk number 3.
Yes.
The series is still really good. This is a super quick read though. The last half of this is just art.
Yeah, this one was super quick and I really liked it, and this is my pick of the week.
Yeah. No, this is a good one. Written by Philip Kennedy Johnson and art by Nick Klein. The art is really good in this. I think that's part of why this issue works as well as it does, because this is a very art-heavy issue. Plot-wise, not a whole lot goes on. I mean, we find out a little bit about Brother Deep, I believe is his name.
Deep, yes.
And then Hulk fucking brutally kills him.
Brutal. It stood no chance. Like, he didn't even fight back. It was just death.
I think that's maybe the reason why this one didn't quite make my pick of the week, because I do think Hulk's win here was so easy.
Yeah.
And maybe too easy, because this dude, you see him. One of the things I really like about this issue is you see the scale of Hulk next to this Brother Deep dude, and Brother Deep is fucking huge. Like, Hulk's a big guy, but he is towering over him. And I thought that was really cool. But then I thought it made it a little bit weird when Hulk just beat him super easily with really no struggle at all.
Yeah, I can see your point, but it was big monster die, so I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. This is leagues ahead of the last Hulk series, which I hated.
Yes.
And I'm definitely gonna keep reading this. I've been really enjoying this. This is one of my favorite things that Marvel is putting out right now, I think. But I think it's very solid. And I actually gave it the same score that I gave Ultimate Invasion. I gave it an 8 as well.
Yes.
But I do think the writing in Ultimate Invasion just kind of grabbed me a little bit more, and I think
fair enough. I don't like the writing, and then I didn't like the writing, but I really liked this one. It was just pure art, so
fair enough.
Yeah, I gave this one a 9.
I think I'm definitely gonna enjoy this series a lot going forward. The next issue is soon. It's only in 2 weeks. And he's going to be fighting Man-Thing, Man-Thing, yeah. Man-Thing is one of my favorite underrated Marvel characters, so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, and the final issue is with Zero Ultra 3 number 5, World Tree number 5.
W0 Ultra 3.
Yeah, that's how it's spelled. I liked this. I do think this is my least favorite issue of the series so far, though.
Oh.
Things I did really like about it, I liked the look forward into the future.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was really cool because it jumps up, does a bit of a time jump. It's kind of going back and forth, but we do see 2049.
Yes.
And the world is just fucked. Like, nobody is there. Everybody's dead, it seems like, except for Ellison. But yeah, I think the stuff in the present is not quite as interesting as that. And, we see Gabriel die, and I was not surprised to see that. I was like, this guy clearly is too good at whatever he's doing. And if he's still alive, it'll probably make this a lot easier than it would have been otherwise. So I was calling him dying, but outside of that, there's not too much that I think is huge. Okay, well, I mean, other than the fact that they shut off the internet to stop the internet.
Yes.
Completely, except for World Tree, which is still up, it seems.
World Tree is the only thing that is still up. Yep.
Yeah. Which I think it's going to be really interesting going forward. I'm still really digging this series. I think it's a really cool, just a really cool concept. And James Tynion IV is a fantastic writer. The art, I think, is pretty good for Nando Blanco. I do think this one felt kind of exposition dumpy at points, and I didn't feel quite as engaged with it as I felt with the last ones outside of those sequences in the future. So I still think it's good, though. I'm really looking forward to the next issue. This is going on hiatus. We don't know when it's coming back yet, but
yes,
it is going to come back at some point. But yeah, I gave this one a 7. I liked it, but I do think it was weaker than the previous ones.
I really enjoyed this one. I really liked the way the story is progressing in this one. I did think the future stuff was interesting. It kind of seemed like him being the only one left, you know, and then he was clearly trying to talk to somebody, right? And so he's trying to like relay the message of like how to basically fix the future is by just going onto World Tree and stuff like that. Yeah. So, you know, we're going to have to see, like, what exactly he means and who he's trying to talk to. And, yeah, the world just went to poop. And the world is just, everybody's dying. So the only solution was to turn off the internet so that basically, because it was basically just being televised. And that was the whole plan. So him turning, like, basically the internet off was just, like, really, like, the only option at that point.
Yeah, but even then, Gabriel says that like this is very much a holding pattern. It's just gonna buy time, but it's not gonna actually save it. You guys need to go and actually do
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But also he bought them, if I remember correctly, like months is what he said.
Yeah,
the thing. Yeah,
right.
So, but yeah, I really I enjoyed this one. I gave this an 8.
Okay.
I liked it.
There is a real World Tree site, by the way, that's been set up by Image. It seems.
I figured.
Yeah, I went to it. I visited it after I read the issue. There's not really much there right now. It's really just that message that Ellison is saying at the start of this issue. That's on the site, but that's the only thing I could find on there right now. So I'll be checking in with that as the series goes on to see if anything else gets added. Yeah, I think it was good, but it wasn't my favorite of the week.
All
right, anything else you got to say on any of these things?
Yeah, no, that's it.
All right, well, that wraps up this episode of Earth's Mightiest Comics. This is a bit of a shorter one than last week, certainly, where we talked about fucking everything. But yeah, next week, it's not the most stacked of weeks, but there's some stuff coming out. Contents of Chaos keeps going on. Batman comes back after Night Terrors with his own series, and that's continuing Gotham War. Also, a new Blue Beetle series that's starting this week. Jed McKay's next Moon Knight issue is coming out. That's been a pretty good series. The Fantastic Four issue that's coming out is one that I'm pretty interested in. And there's a couple other things that could be kind of interesting. Is there anything you want to shout out next week that you're looking forward to?
Silk number 5.
Oh, good lord. Yeah. So the last one for you.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, anyway, thank you for watching or listening, depending on what platform you are on. If you are on YouTube, you can, of course, leave a like and subscribe and ding that bell notification if you would like to know when we post new videos. If you're on Spotify, you can follow the show over there, and you can. If you're on YouTube, you can comment, let us know what you think about the issues. What were your thoughts on Night Terrors now that it's done? And if you're on Spotify, you can do the same thing. If you just want to email us at earthsmightiestcomicspod@gmail.com, which is all one word, no apostrophe in the word Earths. Then you can also let us know there and stuff and all that. I've been thinking about on Spotify you can add a poll. And I've been thinking about adding a poll and just kind of that asks what people's favorite issue of the week was. So maybe I'll do that. But that'll wrap it up for us this week. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.